everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Your Mental. My name is Ariel. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida, and I created this YouTube page in order to get mental health conversation, mental health topics, just mental health in general, but in a comfortable fashion. I'm a therapist myself, and so I like to make my environment comfortable. And for me, playing video games makes me more relaxed. Certain video games, not all of them, but the video games that I play on this channel are casual games, and they kind of just give you a comfortable setting while we're talking about these topics. I know these topics can be heavy for some people or just in general, and it can be hard for some people to sit down and watch and just listen to. So I give the visual in the background to be able to give you something to look at, something to entertain you, while you're also being able to retain the information. The video isn't in the back isn't anything necessary to what the topic is talking about, but it kind of gives you a setting that is more comfortable and inviting, so you're not just sitting here staring at my face. Because for me, I just want this space to be comfortable and for it to feel like we're having a conversation, right? So for today in this video, I'm going to be playing House Flipper. That's what's going to be in the background. Just wanted to give you a background information as to why there's a video in the background and kind of let you know what the whole point of it is, right? So as the video plays in the background, I do want to get into what it is that we're talking about today. So today I wanted to talk about protecting your peace, your mental peace. I think people take that, I don't want to say for granted, but I think people underestimate the value of what it means to protect your peace and understanding how that can benefit you, right? As I've gotten older, I can totally understand why it takes so much energy to put yourself in certain situations that's not even needed, right? There are a lot of things now as I've gotten older that I don't even want to partake in because it just doesn't feed my soul. Like, I just don't get anything out of it. There's a lot of things that I don't enjoy like I used to, and it has a lot of negative connotation around it, but it was entertaining for me at one point. But now in my life, I just feel like it's just too much for me to handle. And I would rather protect my peace by getting into things that I actually enjoy, right? The things that actually bring me harmony, bring me peace, bring me balance, bring me stability. And I had to take some time to really sit down and be like, okay, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? For me, I kind of went back and looked at, there's a lot of things on social media that I followed before that wasn't bringing me any type of mental peace, like, at all. Like, for instance, and this is no shade to anyone who indulges in, this type of stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm better than you because of whatever the case may be. But, this is for me to just give people an understanding, and might possibly work for other people. I don't know, but I would at least like to get that out there and let people know that, this is what I did in order to get to these steps, right? So there are a lot of things that I followed on social media, as far as a lot of blog sites, right? And a lot of times with these blog sites, they will show more negative things than they show positive things. Like, we all know that. Why? Because a lot of people get a lot of drama and a lot of satisfaction out of things that are happening in everybody else's life. And this is no shade against anybody else, like I've said before. This is just what I've observed and what I was also doing myself, right? You get so caught up in the drama of everything that's happening online that it takes you to a point where you don't even think about what's happening in your own life, right? Because me focusing on my own life is more stressful. But I could go and look at what Nicki Minaj is doing, or whatever celebrity is doing in that day, and it's more entertaining. Because for me, this is my thought process, it's not ever something that I would do in my typical life. So it's nice to see what other people who have more access and more money and what they're doing in their life. That's why I really enjoy watching YouTube videos and stuff and TikToks and little things like that, because I enjoy seeing how other people live their life, right? But it kind of got to the point where it was like a lot of the information that I was consuming was negative. Like, it wasn't even anything that was beneficial for me. It was just things like, oh my God, what? That just happened? And then you're just looking at the downfall of these people, and it's like, why? And a lot of the times, the things that are on these blog sites or that are online, half the time they're made up. they're exaggerated, or they're to the point where it's more entertaining so that you can gravitate towards it. And then you sit back and you look at it and you're like, how is this benefiting me at any point? I think it also became a lot too, as far as like stuff that I would see on certain social media sites, like i.e. Twitter, X. A lot of the stuff that I see on there now is a lot of negative stuff. Like Twitter used to be a space where I could just go and laugh and, make jokes and, it was lighthearted. But now it's gotten so heavy over the times that it's like the minute that I open my phone and I go on Twitter, I'm ready to get out of there. Like it doesn't benefit me at all. I'll probably scroll for like a couple minutes and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And it doesn't matter how you tailor your feed, something will always pop up that will make me uncomfortable, and then I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And I'm honestly at the point now too, when I see stuff like that, I will click on the little dots that give me the chance to be able to be like, yeah, I don't want any of this stuff on my feed anymore. I'm not interested in it. Take it out for me, okay? And I think that's something very important to understand, because this whole entire topic is about protecting your peace. Again, it comes with, setting up those boundaries. Like, no, I don't want this stuff on my feed. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of seeing fighting videos. I'm tired of people bringing down each other, no matter the race, no matter the status, whatever it is. It's always something negative, and it's always the same topics. And I just want people to understand that not everything that's going to work for you is going to work for the next person, and that is okay. And this is what I mean as far as like protecting your peace, right? You want to make sure that you are able to balance between the two. If something doesn't go your way or something that you didn't expect, that you are able to take that emotion that you have, work through it and move on, instead of sitting there and letting it fester and looking up online and going through your feed and seeing all this negative stuff constantly. It takes a toll on you, and I think people tend to forget that because it's not something that they're focusing on, right? And I can't fault them for that, but I just want people to understand too, your feed is your feed. You don't have to interact with anything that you don't want to interact. And that's why I feel like this topic is very important. Not to be long-winded with it, but I just want people to understand where I'm coming from as far as when it comes to protecting your peace. Everybody has their own way of doing this, but this is how it started out for me and what has been working so far, right? So again, like in every video, I have notes. I need notes to be able to structure what is going on and kind of just make it a conversation. But I also want to educate people, right? Because that was the whole point of this page, is for me to get my passion for mental health and what I have in order to get this information out there while creating it as a conversation, but also educating people, because there's a lot of things that people don't know, and there's some things that I didn't know that I learned that I would like for other people to know, right? So when it comes to understanding mental peace, right? Inner peace is defined as a low arousal, positive emotional state coupled with a sense of balance or stability. Inner peace means balance, even-mindedness, harmony, stability. Like when you think about peace, or just for me, when I think about peace, it's honestly quiet. It is calm. Not so stressful, right? And it doesn't matter where you are, your peace could be whatever it is. For me, that's how I picture my peace. And I feel like once I feel like something is going to disrupt that, I make sure that I remove myself from that situation, or also just try to cultivate it in a way that's going to be beneficial for me. Because at the end of the day, this is my mental state and I want to make sure that I'm good, right? So when it comes to protecting your peace, this means that, pleasures are experienced and enjoyed without getting overexcited, while pains are experienced without getting discouraged or down. This is what I mean by having a balance, right? Like when you get excited about something, you're able to have that excitement, but not to the point where it's like, if something does happen, you are completely disappointed and don't know how to deal with it. Like, I know we're human and emotions happen, but there has to be a level of balance so that you're able to know how to react in certain situations. We all know that life isn't the way that we expect it to be. There's going to be up and downs, there's going to be ins and outs, there's going to be situations that happen, but it's all about how you adjust to it and you tailor to it for yourself, right? So, and I say this to say that, excessive positive emotion can put somebody at risk of developing unhealthy compulsions to consume, acquire, or strive, which may lead to addiction, materialism, and ruthlessness. Now, this is to the extreme. Of course, you can be happy. I'm not saying don't be happy, but when you always strive to have that emotion of that type of level of excitement and not being okay with just being in the calm state, it can create to other things that can be negative and unhealthy in your life, like addiction. If you are constantly the type of person who wants to get that feeling that you get out of drinking, you could become addicted because all you're searching for is that feeling. And we all know that when you keep using substances, doesn't matter what it is, your body gets used to it, and you'll never get that level of drunk or that level of high that you got the first time that you did it. It just doesn't happen. I mean, let me not say that. If you take a break, you might get to that, but that feeling that you get is something that you're always going to continue to strive for. And I just want people to understand that it's okay to be in the calm, and you have to understand how to navigate your emotions, right? And that comes on the other hand, excessive negative emotions can lead to aggression, defensiveness, dishonesty. When you are in a negative state of mind, just think about it. When you're upset, when you are dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with, and you don't learn how to manage it, whether you talk to someone or you figure it out for yourself, those emotions always come out in another way, and sometimes to people that we didn't even mean to hurt in the first place, but we don't know how to deal with it. So now we're taking all that aggression and negative stuff onto other people and the way that we act, and sometimes we don't notice that those things are happening. So this comes again with learning how to deal with your inner peace and finding that level of balance, understanding that your mental being at peace is so beneficial for you and everyone that's around you, and how it can help you get through life. Because we all know that certain things in life is not promised, and if we set ourselves up to the point where we're just like, okay, there are certain things that are going to happen in our life that are going to be negative, then we know how to deal with them when they come around. Now that's not essential for everyone. Things may happen and you don't know how you might react. This is true, but I think if you get yourself to the point where you can get to a mental state where you're like, okay, if this does happen, I know that I can react in this way, and that my mental peace will be okay because I'll learn how to deal with it, and I won't feel completely devastated, when it comes to that, right? So when it comes to your mental peace, this means creating healthy boundaries. I'm always going to emphasize healthy boundaries. I think people underestimate what boundaries mean and how essential they can be for you. Your boundaries are set for you, and they're for people to understand how to treat you, and that you can have a better understanding at life and live the life that you want to live, because people understand the way that they have to respect you, and you're able to get that peace within yourself, right? So with you understanding your mental peace, you're able to say, this doesn't feel good to me, you're able to walk away and then make a change to preserve your mental wellness. This is what it means by understanding your peace. Like for me, I can say, for example, if I'm talking with a coworker and it gets to the point where the coworker is getting disrespectful, they're getting loud, or whatever the circumstance may be, I completely stop it there. I'm not engaging in conversation where you're not even listening to me, and we're not getting to a point where we're able to hear each other out and get to a solution. And I know ideally that's not going to be for everyone, but I think there has to be a level where you have to have respect for yourself and understand that there are certain things that's not worth getting mad about, and there are certain people who want to be mad. And I'm not that type of person. I don't want to be mad all the time. I don't enjoy being upset. I like being happy. I know there are certain things in life that are going to happen, and we're not always going to be 100% happy all the time. But if I'm able to control my own emotions and understand that, yes, there are certain situations that I might have to deal with difficult people, but that's not going to be my life. And I don't have to sit here and let those emotions take over me 24/7. Setting healthy boundaries, and intentionally cultivating your joy, right? Essentially, this is the whole point, is getting to the point where you can be happy within yourself, and whatever happens around you is not affecting you to the point where, you're dealing with it on a daily basis, right? So this kind of moves me into, why is it important for us to protect our peace? What does that even mean? Why is it something that is essential? Why am I even talking about it, right? When your mental peace is disrupted, it affects more than just your mood, right? It affects every aspect of your health. Anxiety, stress, turmoil in our mental state can lead us to physical symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, and a compromised immune system. If you guys want to check out my video before this, I laid out how your mental health affects your physical health. These two things work together, whether you want to think it or not. Things can happen to you emotionally, and if you don't address them, talk about them, learn how to navigate them, and you keep pushing them down, stuffing them down so you don't acknowledge them, they're gonna come up in another way. It's even if you don't talk about it and you think, okay, I'm gonna push this, I'm gonna forget about it, it's gonna come up in other ways, whether that's communicating with other people, whether that's you dealing by yourself with your own emotions. It's gonna come up in another form or fashion, and it's always best to be able to work through your thoughts. And I'm not saying necessarily go to therapy, but find something that's gonna be able to help you get to the point where you can understand that this thing happened, I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, let me work through these feelings. Okay, now what do I do to continue to move on? And now that's easier said than done, but I feel like people don't even give the chance to work out their thoughts. Like, they're scared of their thoughts and what's happening. And it's okay to be scared, but it doesn't help you if you keep pushing those feelings in the situation aside like it didn't happen. Especially if there's other people around you that have been affected by that same situation. I think people forget the power in support. The people around you can support you more than you know. Sometimes the people around you are going through the same thing that you're going through, but because you guys don't talk about it, you don't even know. So I think it's nice to at least try and see, how can I protect my mental peace from being disrupted so it doesn't affect my mood and everything else in my life, to the point where, now I'm dealing with multiple things because I didn't address this one thing and it's affecting me in all areas, right? Your disrupted mental peace can impair your decision-making abilities. It can strain relationships, decrease productivity. I think, this is the same thing that I said before. If your mental peace is not good and you're not in a calm state and you don't know how to manage your emotions, making decisions based off of how you're temporarily feeling is never a good thing. And we all know this. I mean, I've seen this time and time again from every quote page or just things in general. When you make permanent decisions based off of temporary emotions, it's never a good thing. And I think people tend to forget that, and a lot of the times when we're upset, we're quick to make these decisions because that's how we're feeling, and we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for us. But then afterwards we look back and we're like, damn, that was such a dumb thing to do. But I think people forget you can also take like a couple minutes to sit to the side and be like, yo, what am I doing? Like, is this even worth it? Like, hold on, let me take two steps back and just be like, okay, let me reevaluate this situation. Is it worth me yelling and getting into an argument with this person? Where is that gonna get us? Am I still gonna have to deal with this person after this argument? Okay, so then how can I get to a point where I can deal with them and get past the situation and I'm not letting it affect me all the time? Because essentially, when you just sit there and let people disrupt your peace and keep getting you to the point where you're constantly negative, you're essentially letting them live your life for you. Whether you want to believe that or not, you're essentially letting them live your life for you. And I forgot, is this not your life? I think people forget, like, this is your life. You don't have to deal with anything that you don't want to deal with, especially when you become an adult. You have the option to pick and choose. And now I understand that certain things may be cultural, certain things may be respect. I get it, but I want people to understand the power in having your own options, like being able to pick what you want to deal with and what you don't want to deal with. That is such a powerful thing that I think people tend to forget, because think about when you were a kid, when you are a teenager, you don't have as much options to do what you want. Whether your parents are parents that are there 24/7 or whether they're parents that kind of give you a bunch of leeway, you're still a minor. There are certain things that you're not allowed to do legally, I mean, of course there's things that you can attempt to do, but there are a lot of things that you can't do legally. And as the number one thing that we strive for when we're teenagers or just kids in general, it's like, I just want to be able to do what I want. Like, I don't want somebody telling me what to do. So then why do we change that when we're adults? Why is it that we're adults, we just let people walk all over us, we just accept whatever? But as a teenager and as a kid, I mean, not everyone, but certain people, I'm doing whatever I want. Like, I'm a teenager, I'm getting close to being an adult. I don't have to listen to anyone and this and that. So why can't we do that as adults, and understanding that we have our own autonomy? We can pick what we want to do and what we want to, deal with. Not everybody that we come into interaction with we have to deal with all the time, or not everybody that we deal with we have to let that person's own emotions or their own action affect us all the time. That person is not living our life for us, and the more that we sit here and let these people affect us to this point, it's not going to be beneficial for us, right? So this comes with why it's important to continue to protect your mental peace, right? Increased overall well-being and life satisfaction despite negative experiences and emotions. When your mental peace is doing good and you can get to the point where you are able to establish what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. I can only protect the things that I can control. Everything that's outside of my control, I can't do anything about it. You live such a more fulfilling life because you understand that what am I stressing for? Everything in life is going to play out itself. Whether I do as much as I can, whatever, life has a funny way of, putting circumstances that you thought you had everything planned out. Life will show up in a way and be like, wow, I thought I had all this planned out. But then all of a sudden things will happen and you're just like, what the heck just happened? But you learn to adapt. When you sit there and you just let those things fester over and you're dealing with it constantly, it doesn't help, right? So why let those things, affect you, right? When we're able to get to the point where our mental peace is doing well, this allows us to function at our best in daily activities. We respond to stress effectively and maintain healthy relationships, right? That is something to remember. We're always going to have relationships throughout our life, whether now as a young kid, or as a teenager, as a young adult, as an adult, or even as in the older generations. We always have certain relationships in our life, and once we learn how to get to the point where we are mentally doing okay, those relationships will be so much more beneficial for us, right? So this moves you into, how do you protect your peace, right? I can tell you what it means, I can tell you why it's important, why you should do it, but if you don't have the tools, how are you gonna do it, right? And I'm gonna give you, a couple of pointers. This may work for some people, it may not, but I'm just giving some people some ideas, some things that you can try if you want to get to the point where you would like to be mentally peaceful, right? Because at the end of the day, we know life is going to have its ups and downs. You're going to go through certain situations that are going to be very hard more than others, but I feel like when you are doing mentally okay, to the point where you're able to establish that things happen. And I'm not saying, when I say mentally okay, I'm not saying that you have emotions and you never deal with them, and your mental peace means that I'm able to be happy, I'm able to be upset, but I know that I will be okay and I can move forward with it, and I'm not dealing with my emotions in a negative fashion, as far as like resulting to substance use, or dealing with it in certain ways that are not in the best interest of yourself or anybody else, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of pointers to show you how do you protect your peace, right? The first thing that I want to get into is journaling. I don't know how many times I suggest this to clients all the time, and some people may find it uncomfortable. It may not be for everyone, but I think it's something to at least try. And a lot of things that I do see, like I've said before, I watch a lot of videos, YouTube videos. I love day in the life videos, weekly vlogs, things like that. And I do see a lot of people who journal. They journal at the beginning of their day, they journal at the end of the day. I see people who journal in the beginning of their day for gratitude and making sure that they set goals for themselves. And then I also see people that journal at the end of the day for completing their tasks, and also gratitude and making sure that they're aware of the things that they were able to accomplish, and understanding that taking that moment to just just journal so you can see what you've accomplished and, you know, the things that you are continuing to look forward to, right? If you take a moment to journal about what might need to change in your life and what actions you need to take to change, to protect your peace, journaling can help with that, you know, completely. Like I said before, gratitude is an integral part of mindfulness, and you can practice it by starting your day by writing down whatever you're grateful for each morning, or at the end of the day you've wrote down all the tasks, you've completed the tasks, and so at the end of the day you're just trying to see what the gratitude is, as far as like, what am I grateful for? I mean, I'm grateful to be able to wake up this morning. I'm grateful to be able to have the ability to complete these tasks. I'm grateful to be able to have a job, have a family. You know, these are things that we don't think about on a regular basis because we're such in a routine that we don't really think about it. But I think it's important to look back and just see the things that we are grateful for, because these are the things that we don't know that can push us and strive us and understand, wow, like there was a time in my life where I didn't have these things, and now I'm also grateful, and I know that whatever it is that I am manifesting right now, I can get there because I've done it before, right? And I think that's what is really helpful with journaling and understanding gratitude. And that's not only what journaling is for. Journaling is good for being able to get your thoughts out. I've seen a lot that people like to put all their business online. And yes, like I've said before, with me watching people with weekly vlogs and stuff like that, we get a little dose into what people's life is like. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're showing us everything. People are able to tailor their content however they want. But I think it's essential for people to understand too, all of your information doesn't need to be out there to the world. And being able to have a journal, you know, thinking about it when you're a little kid. I don't know about you, but when I was a little girl, they had all these little fancy journals. They had the one with the little lock on it. They had one where you had to put in a code. It's not as big as it was when I was younger. You know, things have changed, but there's so many journals out there. Even if you don't know what to write, there are prompt journals that can literally prompt you and tell you, know, I am grateful for da 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 da, and then you can fill it out. So I don't want people to make excuses because there's options out there, but I just want to put out there that there are different ways to be able to do it. The next thing would be pick up hobbies that bring you joy. I think as adults, again, we forget that we're allowed to enjoy our own hobbies, and we may say, oh, we don't have time, but I guarantee you, if you have enough time to be on your phone, you know, separate from everything else, if you have enough time to sit on your phone and doom scroll and lay on the couch and do nothing, you have enough time to pick up a hobby. You can do a hobby in 30 minutes if you really wanted to. One of the hobbies I like doing is coloring. I color, and I have thousands of coloring books and different things to color with, because there are days when I want to color with a crayon, there are days when I want to color with a marker, there are days when I color with a colored pencil. But having those different options makes it more exciting for me. That's nothing for you to be ashamed about, right? Whatever it is that brings you joy, do it. That is what is going to make life so much more fulfilling, because we already know as adults, we don't have as much freedom as we did as a kid. Whether you're the richest person or whomever, we don't have as much freedom as we did as a kid. So being able to set time aside to be able to do these hobbies, it's going to make you so much more happy and so much more fulfilling that you took the time to do something that you liked, and it's not something that you are required to do. Because if we think about it, we set time aside on the weekends to hang out with our friends, to go to brunch, to go to the club and do all this other stuff. Not that there's anything against that, but I think it's very essential to do the things that you like to do by yourself, so you can understand what that means. And again, that mental piece of being able to do something that you enjoy, without, you know, having others around you, and just being able to have that satisfaction, right? The other thing is listening to music that lifts your mood. I think people forget the power of music, and there's so many different genres out there that you can figure out what works for you. Like for me, I listen to everything, whatever makes me happy and makes me move. that's what I'm going to listen to. Now, when I need some type of mental peace, I will shift the music into something that's a little bit more relaxing. But the power of music, whether you're upset, whether you're happy, whether you're excited, whether you're nervous, music helps in so many ways, and it can make you a little bit more peaceful when you listen to those certain type of music to be able to get you to that point, right? Um, the other thing is making sure that you remember healthy mind, healthy body, right? The role of a diet, exercise, and sleep cannot be overstated when it comes to your mental health, right? These elements of a healthy lifestyle work together to improve your physical health, which in turn enhances mental clarity and emotional stability. A lot of times people tend to put working out to the side, but again, since I've gotten older, I've really taken my physical health very seriously. I work out at least 4 to 5 times a week, and that doesn't necessarily mean going to the gym, because I know that can be a lot for people. Like for me, that was a lot for me. Going to the gym, being around other people who know what they're doing, and constantly questioning myself and trying to figure out, am I doing this right? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Even though I feel like, people aren't looking at you when you go to the gym. Honestly, they're really in their own zone. For me, I could not get that out of my head. And then on top of that, having to pay ridiculous fees for the gym is absurd. So I found my own way of just working out at home. There's so many apps and equipment that you can buy, and doing it in the comfort of your home. Or even like I have a community gym in my complex, I can go there and do that. But the physical health is so important, because if you're not physically doing well, it essentially affect you emotionally and mentally. So you want to make sure that you are doing well, and making sure that you are getting regular physical activity to release endorphins that boost your mood and reduce your anxiety and stress, whether that's yoga, walking, doing vigorous exercise like HIIT, you know um Pilates. All that stuff helps, even if you do it in a small period of time. Walking helps. When I'm at work, I need to take a break and go walk outside, because work can be very stressful, especially if you're sitting at a desk all the time. If you're in a room, my office at work, I don't even have a window, and I'm the type of person that enjoys being outside, so I will take mental breaks and go sit outside sometimes, or take a walk. It definitely helps me throughout the day, and making sure that I'm doing okay, and just making sure that I'm mentally doing well, right? So we just have to remember that moving a little is always better than not moving at all. Even if you do just a little bit of exercise, 30 minutes, that's better than not doing anything at all. Mindfulness and meditation, there are powerful tools for maintaining your mental peace. Now, I know meditation is not for everyone, so you don't essentially have to do meditation, but they do help you stay present and engage in the moment without overthinking past events and worrying about the future. Um, Being in a mindful state is really just focusing on your mental and not worrying about everything that's around you. So when you do want to practice mindfulness, you have to be somewhere where it's very quiet, somewhere where there's not a lot going on around you, and being able to take in your own thoughts and your experience, and understanding how beneficial that's going to be for you, right? Because when you do get into mindfulness and meditation, you get a lot of reduced stress, enhance emotional health, and improve concentration. Like I've said before, being able to sit down and focus on your thoughts, it can be very challenging, but once you nail that down, even a few minutes a day can make a significant difference to your mental health, right? Sometimes I will take time to not be on my phone and not do anything, and honestly, again, sit outside, take a breath of fresh air, and just sit there and enjoy and understand the fact that I live in Florida. Like, that's a place where people vacation. I can go to the beach whenever I want. I can go to the pool whenever I want, and not everybody is allowed to do that. So I think being able to take the time to understand that gives me so much more peace, because I'm like, man, I used to live in New York where it was cold in certain periods of the time, and it would be so dreading to be outside. But I'm in Florida where it's hot year round. And I mean, of course it gets chilly, but I enjoy where it's hot, and I enjoy being in the warmth and being able to go outside when I want, because I enjoy getting that fresh air, right? The next thing, or the final thing, honestly, is going to be your boundaries, which we kind of touched on before. But again, setting your boundaries, remaining firm in your intentions so that you can lead a positive and more fulfilled life. Emotional boundaries might involve protecting your energy by not taking on others' emotional burdens. This is a very, very important one to understand. And this goes back to my old video of boundaries, if you want to go back and watch that. Emotional boundaries of not taking on other people's stuff. Now, I can understand we all have someone that we love, that we have a very close personal relationship, and we don't want to see those people get hurt. But we also have to understand too, we are doing them a disservice, and we're doing ourselves a disservice by taking on that whole entire emotional burden onto ourselves. It can be so stressful trying to figure out somebody else's life when you already are going through a lot in your own life. So we have to remember that when it comes to emotional boundaries, making sure that we are not stressing over what somebody else is going through, that we are doing as much as we can to help them by supporting them or by providing them resources, anything like that, to be able to support them. But just taking on that whole entire task and putting it on your back when you can't even figure it out for yourself is a lot. And we have to remember that. And taking a step back isn't a negative thing, and it isn't going to hinder that relationship if that person can understand that, and understand that this is the level of support that you can give them, and hopefully they can understand that, right? So this kind of ties into physical boundaries, right? So this includes personal space, deciding who you allow into your home. I don't invite everybody to my house, and that's just me. That's just how I grew up. I just don't like the idea of people coming into your home and being able to come into the space that you call peace, the space that you like to relax in, and just bring whatever energy they have. I'm a big person on energy, and if I feel negative around you, I'm gonna try and push myself away, right? Because I don't want that in my life. Again, this is about protecting your peace. And if I know that that's what's going to hurt me to bring that person over to my house, I'm not going to do that. And that's nothing against them. That's just me and my own boundaries, right? So I essentially will hang out with people outside of the home. Maybe if we get very, very close, you can come over. But to be honest, this comes with the boundary, you know, your personal space and allowing who decides into your home. Same thing with you being at work or wherever it is that you're at. Protecting your personal space and letting people know you're too close, I need you to take a step back, or just removing yourself is essentially important to make sure that you're doing good. And again, getting back to understanding that you need to protect your inner peace, and you don't want anybody disrupting that by being able to walk all over you or do whatever they want in a space that is essentially yours, that you're cultivating. You want to make sure that you set up those boundaries, whether people agree with it or not. Again, boundaries are not for other people, they're for you, and make sure that you are doing okay. And sometimes you have to reiterate it, and it sucks, but if you want to make sure that you're good and you're mentally well, you will do the hard work of being able to reiterate that to people so that they understand, right? And then the last thing would be digital boundaries. They are very, very important, increasingly important in our connected world, right? Like limiting social media use and not checking work emails during personal time. Now I essentially have my work email on my phone because the job that I'm in, I'm also on crisis calls. So if something happens, I kind of have to be on my phone, but that's only during work hours. When work is done, I essentially have that stuff put to the side. I don't have to worry about it, and I'm not stressing over it until work comes back the next day. I know for some people this can be kind of hard, I get it, but I feel like it's important to take those breaks if you can. Separate yourself from that, making sure that you understand that you are done with work, and when work is done, and you need to protect yourself by being able to put that stuff to the side and being able to wind down at the end of the day, right? Especially this, again, going back to the social media use, making sure that you are establishing what it is that's on your algorithm. What is it that you want to interact with every day? I love dog videos. That's what I'm gonna have on my algorithm. If there's anything else that's negative and I don't want it there, I'm gonna, like I said before, click on there, not interested, don't want to see it, block it. I'm done. I don't want any of that on my timeline. I want to be at peace and I want to be happy. If there's certain things that I want to go learn about, I'll go and look it up, but I don't want that stuff, that negative stuff on my feed. So again, making sure that you're protecting your peace by setting up boundaries on social media, on your phone, who you want to talk to when you're in certain things, making sure you communicate that with people. I'm okay. I've like at least communicating with people. I'm okay, but right now I want to be by myself, and people have to understand and respect that, right? And so sticking to your boundaries once they are set is crucial, like I said before, which may require you reinforcing them periodically. And remembering setting boundaries is a form of self-respect and is vital to your inner peace. You are the only one that knows what you can and can't deal with, and you should not allow other people to establish that for you. Once you can get to that point where you can essentially do these things and set those boundaries and be okay with whatever emotion comes with that, you will get to the point of becoming internally peaceful, protecting your peace. Because life is life, it's gonna life, it just happens. But I think we have to remember too, we made it this far, and a lot of times I think we tend to make things bigger than they are because we don't have the answers at that time in that point, and we're not going to. But understanding that there are resources out there and we can essentially get to the point where we can be internally okay and create that peace for ourselves, right? Just want people to understand protecting your peace is important. You got to understand what that means to you. What does mental peace mean? What state would you like? What does peace mean for you? Because it's not the same for everyone. Understanding why it's important, how it's beneficial for you, and what happens when you don't do it, and essentially looking at those pointers that I give of how to protect your peace. Now, you don't have to do all these things, but I feel like doing a couple of these things will get you to that point. And essentially just looking at life in a different lens and understanding that I may not have everything, but I understand that, stuff in life happens. Emotions are going to happen, but I essentially know how to deal with it and get back to the point of being calm and essentially protecting my inner peace, right? Protecting your peace at the end of the day. So I want to thank you guys for watching another video. I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, commenting. I'm a up and coming YouTuber. I don't have all the subscribers, but I'm continuing to put content out there because this is what I enjoy doing. And I'm very, very passionate about mental health, and I want to be able to get the information out there, but again, in a relaxed form. I want people to be comfortable coming onto my page and watching my videos, and understanding that they can get information out of it and also leave here in a very calm state, nothing too, tense. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.